Look at TT1. He has the cap on
No, look at
backwards.
Bradok's eyes, man. They pierce through my soul. It's a stunning gaze.
It reveals
it's
a lot.
astonishing. It's astounding. It's remarkable.
I feel like if Bratok
wonderful.
interrogated me, I'd have to tell him everything.
Yeah, I would just say, whatever you want me to say, I will say it.
He would work really well with the Soviet Union 30 years ago, man.
Who is responsible for the Cuban Missile Crisis? Me. Thank you.
What are you quoting?
Huh?
What are you quoting, man?
Nothing.
Nothing? Is that like a play from middle school, man? Because you're really inspired. I felt really uncomfortable from that. It's okay, Andre, man. I love you, dude. I love you. In the top right, we have TT1 from MTW. Now, he did lose game number 1, but it is his map choice. Antiga Shipyards, we discussed some possibilities. What will we have in store for game number 2?
You know, this is fixed cross positions. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like a Nexus First. A Nexus First is really powerful. Why is it better on fixed cross positions? Well, you know your opponent is in the opposite corner. It's the farthest away. It's not going to be a Nexus First. So I'm going to just stop all analysis of that.
Okay. He's just going to stop it, man. Just no need to go on with it. Just like if you realize it's not going to go anywhere with the girl, just stop it.
Exactly.
Don't put yourself through that, man.
No.
Nerds out there, it's not worth it.
Because then they become attached. And then they get all clingy.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes.
I know what
and then you start singing Taylor Swift songs. You learn how to play acoustic guitar just to play outside her window. You throw a rock and try to get her attention, but it's 4 a.m. and she looks very bad at 4 a.m. compared to how she looks at 9 a.m. at high school. It's so true.
Dude, high school girls have gotten crazy with what they wear these days. Have you ever been to a high school? I have, like...
I don't like where this conversation's going.
Okay,
so I've been seeing you set.
Let me explain that real quick.
Is that what you do this past weekend? You're like, oh man, my weekend was great, Frodan. Let me tell you.
Okay, no. Okay, listen. Oh, man. I'm just saying high school girls are wearing some crazy
It's true. The fashion trends have been absolutely crazy. That's where we can go.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Speaking of crazy trends, we see Bratok is actually putting an engineering bay to block as he knows this is a very good and fast Nexus map.
Yep, that's what it looks like he's doing.
And, oh, sorry, he already did that? I apologize.
Oh, God. You're so silly.
I am so silly, man.
You're so silly.
But, yeah, he's blocking it. I do apologize, guys. The replay sync was just a little bit off. But, I mean, this is a really cool thing. Just stalling the Nexus for as much time as you can.
You punish your opponent for not getting an early zealot. That's what it comes down to.
And
for those of you at home, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you at home, if you don't see a zealot out, I actually want to work out the math to this because I actually think an engineering bay is almost always the way to go. But if you don't see a zealot, put down that engineering bay because if they're only going a single gas, then what you end up doing is stopping any sort of super fast nexuses.
Nexi.
Nexi. Are you sure it's Nexi?
It is Nexi.
All right.
Like,
you
what's
have to
the
yell.
Plural of fetuses?
Fetuses.
Or sorry, fetus. It's just feti. It's not fetuses.
Well, you just said fetuses.
That's what I meant. It's like radii.
What about pi? What's the
pies? What's the
plural
of pi?
Plural of pi.
Pies, isn't it? Oh, are you talking about PIE or PI?
PI.
PI. Oh, TT1 trying to run by this bunker here.
Oh, I like what he does there. Now, a lot of players are wondering what he was doing there. The probe is actually very important to get in there. You want to confirm that that command center is there. If the command center isn't there, then you've basically won yourself a free game. You know it's a one base all-in. You can go ahead and just defend against all the different all-ins that could come up. So I really like what TT1 did there, just assuring himself that he is against a fast expansion Terran.
Now, Bratok, he is getting a tech lab here first. So no doubt going to start an upgrade very soon. What will it be?
Stim.
Concussive shells.
Why do you do this to me, Bratok?
You know, Bratok actually was one of the Protosses that really tried to do a lot of marauder timings. Or not timings, but just like pressures where he'd go for like 1 Rax concussive or he'd go like 2 Rax concussive and try to do that to Protoss a lot. But I just like the fact that he's sticking to it and he's prioritizing. It's just, it's good. I like it. I like it.
This is normally a phase where just the first round of units pop out for the warping in Protoss. Normally, if there are no 6 gates, even 6 gates, you won't take map control, so I like what Bratok is doing. right here. I think he's actually... Oh, I thought he was just going to move in for the center control, but no, he might actually go for the big sweep around and try to attack his opponent. This could be really nice because TT1, look what he's doing.
Yeah, he's getting a War Prism. Now he has 3 Sentries and a Stalker, but he's
Oh,
going to
God.
fly it over.
Oh,
This is
TT1,
so bad.
TT1!
No! Oh, his War Prism is getting so close. It's at 8 health.
Oh,
Man, that was absolutely
merciful crap.
way too close than it needed to be. And TT1, I mean, a lot has been revealed. Just that War Prism shows that he has robotics. The fact that he was going to go out and harass shows that also if you send out a War Prism, it's because you want to keep your attention away from his base for some reason. Interesting, interesting, interesting.
a lot of times when you do this War Prism stuff, you actually become very abusive in, let's say, tech or your expansions. You're saying, okay, well, I know my opponent is going to play a lot more conservative. You can see Marines and Marauders already out in the field, not in the field, but are out defending. This actually enables you to say, my opponent isn't going to be pushing. I'm okay to take a third base. I'm okay to tech because they will always be attacking with less units than they normally have.
I like TT1's choice of double robotics. Upgrades are critical for how you play the mid and late game PvT. TT1 still sending his War Prism, but this time it is empty. It's barren, as we like to say. Oh, the Viking's gonna find it though. Oh wow, TT1. Wherever he goes, that War Prism is completely caught. Man.
Everywhere he goes, Bradok's watching him.
You don't run from Bratok.
Dude, he is, it's his eyes, man. His
tired.
eyes see everything.
It is. He has 2 eyes of Sauron. That's Bratok, basically, man. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. TT1 is gearing up for some sort of push. I don't know if this is going to be a full commitment push because this is probably the worst time to do anything like that. Stim normally is finished by the 10-minute mark. Even Combat Shields is normally finished, but in this scenario it's not. +1 sometimes is finished, but of course the medevacs are normally on the field at 10 minutes. This is actually a very bold way to play. I'm not sure if Bratok knows about this. Let me check real quick.
No, he doesn't really know too much.
If he did know about this, it's like instant drop.
Yeah.
And just go kill my opponent.
Or at least try to pull him back away from it. But TT1, he does have +1/+1 lining up. His Immortal is out onto the field, but it is pretty far behind. And Immortals are one of the slower units in the game at 225. Bratok, he's waiting for combat shields, and that'll increase his efficiency. Or is he going to try to catch the units? No, he's going to pull back, and he does force a Guardian Shield, but for the most part, this is looking like a pretty scary push from TT1.
Yeah, TT1 is gearing up for this 1-1 timing, and Bratok knows about this. Look at this. I love where he's going with this. The command center is the way he's actually opting to carry on his advantage. He's saying, okay, come at me. I know you're putting a lot of investment into this. When I do defend this, I have a third ready to go, and I will be able to take my my economic lead a lot faster than you can.
Well, actually, there are 2 Immortals out into the field. TT1 actually had 1 in transit that I missed, and Bradok's bringing out his SCVs in anticipation of the push. Now, TT1, this is a lot of Sentry energy that he has, and if he places really good ones, he can segregate the SCVs and then go for a wave number 2. What are we wowing about here, Andre?
The 2-2 is on the way. Really interesting. So he's opting to just play this for the longer style game. I mean, normally we don't see that happen. You know, the players will just go the 1-1, all minerals and gas going towards units. TT1 didn't do that. He said, okay, this is going to be a lot of pressure. Obviously, he has tons of gateway units and Immortals. He's just going to rely on that, taking map control. Now all this pressure is going to keep him safe against drops, and then he can just pull back and defend until 2-2 is up. Oh, he's doing just a 2-base all-in.
Yeah, he doesn't have a third Nexus attempt, and Bratok would have seen it. In fact, some Terrans even land the factory. Bratok does scan and attempt to take out an Observer, but TT1 didn't have one at that position. And we do see that TT1, he's also getting charged, getting his robotics base, so he has a lot of gas invested in a couple minutes from now, but Bratok looks like he's starting to move out towards the center of the map.
Yes, and the 2-2 is about to finish up. Will he actually go to 3-3, or does he stay here? Now there is a medevac all the way in the mid right-hand position. It is gearing up for a drop. There are no units over there just yet.
Oh.
But Stalkers,
should be in
TT1
time.
has the Bratok guys this time around.
Wow. In fact, you see 1 Marine and 1 Marauder were left alone. And see that Bratok is pulling back, but this is an important time because Bratok saw the amount of units and he saw TT1, the majority of his stock. He's going to elevate her into his base as well before TT1 has any real Colossus down to the field. And this is a great timing for Bratok, but will he be able to capitalize? He doesn't have all of his army. In fact, he's still fighting with only half of it. The Zealots and Sentries are now getting into it. Charge is still not finished, so the Zealots can't exactly catch the units, but there should be enough here from TT1 to defend.
Ooh, and he's losing the Sentries. Not a good trade right there. Now, killing all those Stalkers does enable this force to be a lot more mobile. Normally, the Protoss will take out all the medevacs with those Stalkers, but now that the Stalkers are gone, a lot of the gas in that army is gone as well. It empowers those medevacs and allows them to just move around the map, pick up a lot easier.
I don't like this from Bratok. Now that the Colossus is out,
no.
TT1 can trap him, and the Charge Lats are already engaging into the battle. The Colossus now also fighting. No thermal lance just yet, but with the Stalkers trapping the escape. If Bratok tries to pick up, he's going to lose his medevacs, and one does down, and the second one is go down as well. Man. That was well played by TT1, and now he just killed off, I believe, 20 supply there.
This is TT1's timing. It is 20 supply. Just remember, it's always 10 supply for a medevac. That's how much it is. 2 for whatever is for the medevac itself, and then 8 for whatever's inside of it. The Marines and Marauders are dropping yet again at this third, but you can see TT1 will not stop. He's pushing forward with this Colossus. Does it have thermal lance? Yes, it does. And Bratok has no way to actually defend this, I don't think. 2-2 against 1-1.
He's putting up bunkers, but it's not in time. Also, he has only 2 Vikings and not a really good position. Antiga is actually one of the positions you can easily defend your Colossus by making it waltz to the other side. And we do see TT1. Force field's a huge part of the army. Bratok does end up stimming, but not enough here. 150 supply to 115. TT1 in full domination.
It looks like TT1 was able to clean up that drop in the mid left-hand position. Again, going in here, a second Colossus is going to join the fray, and that just adds on to the advantage TT1 has with this push. All he has to do is just confront the army, and he's in a great position. No medevacs out on the field over here, so these units are still significantly damaged from the last engagement.
TT1 also has Blink, so he can rearrange his Stalkers to protect his Colossus accordingly. Bratok forced to retreat to this high ground for now. The command center landing. Here's the timing from TT1 though, and the Stalkers are blinking forward. A huge sign of aggression and confidence. Nice choke here set up by Bratok, but not going to be enough as TT1 is devastating this entire army from Terran, and TT1 with the upgrade advantage and the unit and tech advantage will just absolutely stomp whatever Bratok has.
Oh yeah, that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. TT1 will take the second game. There's no chance for Bratok to get into this with the long distance mining at the third. TT1 just doing everything he can do with this 2-base all-in aggression, and it paid off really well because Bratok made some critical mistakes, I think, that led to his demise.
Yeah, I mean, Bratok definitely was not careful with his army. There was times where he had an open window, but he was not able to do anything, but GG. TT1 showing a lot of life in him in this series, and he ties it up.
It's getting interesting, Frodan. Getting interesting.
All right, well, we'll see what happens there, but that was, let's talk about that for a couple of seconds. What do you feel like was a defining moment from that game?
I think Bratok overestimated his advantage. He knew that he had an advantage, seeing that TT1 went for this heavy aggression. He had Immortals in there. He had a lot of Zealots, Sentries, more importantly Sentries, I should say, and a pretty big Stalker count. Now, when you invest all of that gas into gateway units, you can just sit back, relax, get some Ghosts, which are probably the most important things.
Pretty good units.
But
TVP.
Instead, he wanted to just win the game outright right there. And when you're going against a gateway army that really hasn't been hindered the whole time, it does have a lot of capacity to still stay alive against everything. With a 2-2 advantage over the 1-1, TT1 was able to grab some pretty key wins in those battles, namely the medevacs with all the units inside, and then that counter push is unstoppable. You can't amass any amount of units to actually defend against that push with the current upgrades and that army composition.
Yeah, you know, we were crunching some numbers, and when you have that +1 armor up advantage, whether it be 2 over 1 or 3 over 2, 1 over 0, you just increase in Guardian Shield. Yes. It gives you an additional 20 hits, so very big plays from TT1 to get those upgrades early and had that advantage, and he wrote it all the way to victory. Thank you so much to Game Reminder, the people who provide the application to remind you about upcoming games. Check them out at handelabra.com. We'll be back with more action for NASL Division 1. Who will take game number 3, the ace match between Bratok and TT1? Find out after this commercial.